Hi guys, it's Bissong, and this is Saturday, the 6th of July, and I just want to wish you a happy weekend. And this is a beautiful topic I want us to discuss, basically. And I want you to always treat listening to Bissong's podcast as a kind of discussion, a kind of entrance, insight into my soul, a kind of peep into my soul through the windows. This podcast can serve as a window by which you can take a peep into my soul. I want to get reviews about my podcast, the ones you have listened to. Are there issues with the way I sound? What are the issues? Are there issues with the way I articulate my points? Don't you get them clearly? What are the issues that you feel like Bissong should improve on going forward? All right, so that being said, let's get into the topic of today. The topic of today is, when should men get married? When should men get married? You see, this is a conversation I've had with a lot of guys, and I see a lot of people these days tilting, that's the word. Tilting. Yes, tilting towards the 30, 35, later part of their youthful life, for marriage. And I think it is based on this culture that is prevalent now, telling people to not see marriage as an achievement and telling people to live their lives and then go and settle down. So the problem with the word settle down, there's a problem with that word. Because when you treat marriage as settling down, it means you have explored, and when you are done, you come and retire. So many people are retiring in marriage. But meanwhile, marriage is supposed to be you picking a person you want to do life with. Marriage is not a thing you come to after doing life. So I see a lot of people advising people, say, make sure you have reached a high point in your career. Make sure you have explored life. So many people are advising young women these days. I speak to young women, and many of them are telling me that, no, I'm not marrying until I'm financially stable, until I've explored my life and everything. Then I cannot tell I want to settle down. That mindset makes marriage an afterthought of life. Like, you must have lived your life, then you can consider marriage. And I don't think that is how it should be. And I think that many centuries back, that was not the way. Not even so many centuries back. I would just say in the last century, that was not the way. As people were coming of age, getting into puberty, they were getting betrothed, they were getting into marriage. And why was that important? Because we have strong sexual urges, and we cannot lie to ourselves that these sexual urges are not there. So from 15 to 16, we are already building sexual urges as humans. We are becoming fertile enough to have children. There is always going to be an expression, there's going to be an outlet of expression of those things. And it is better in marriage. And that's why in those days people married as young as 16, 14 self. If you have read some of this history, and that's why it's difficult for us. Many of us have engaged in a lot of heartbreak here, heartbreak there, and we go into marriage with a spent, idea of romance. It's like we are tired already by the time we now see the person that is the one. We are tired of loving properly. We are tired of bonding. We cannot bond properly because we have been with a lot of people, so it's difficult for us to bond with this person. Only the courageous can bond. Only the courageous have the courage, of course, the braveness to bond, with a person. Many people are skeptical about the people that they are with in a relationship. Everyone is trying to outdo the other person in some sort of competition. Why is that so? It is very simple. The reason why that is so is we have spent ourselves. We have gone through life, one heartbreak to the other, one relationship to the other. We have formed ideas about men and women and relationships from ourselves and from other people around us, so that when we go into our own marriage, We cannot see it from an individual perspective. We are judging it with the mindset we have gathered over the years. So we go into marriage, and I'm seeing that, or we go into relationships first of all, and we see that people are judging their present partners with the inadequacies of the people they have experienced in the past. And that is an issue. And that is why in those days, they tried as much as possible that these people didn't have any of these experiences. And it was really a good thing. I know, again, we're watering down the importance of marriage, and we're not seeing it as a continuation of bloodlines. We're seeing it as just, I love him, let's get married. There's a lot more involved, in marriage. So let's talk about, when should a man get married? People have different ideas about when a man should get married. One of those ideas, some people say a man should get married after 30, 40. Some people even say 50. Some people don't say that. Some people say, marriage. When should a man get married? I think a man should get married after he has gained all the experience in life, He has to take his time. Marriage is not a small thing. It's not for boys, it's for men. Marriage is not for boys, it's for men. You have to make sure that you have come of age. You have to make sure that, you see, a lot of reasons why we defer a lot of things in our life right now, because we go to school, we go to university, we have a way our life moves. From primary school, you go to secondary school. From secondary school, you go to a university. And these were the things that were not so important before, but we have made it look like if you have not gone through this process in life, you are a nobody. Some people will be asking, are you even a graduate? That means, have you gone to university? But this person that you're asking, are you a graduate, can speak English, can do everything you want to do. The person has the same critical thinking you have. You just feel like going to university, makes you kind of more advanced human. And that idea is why a lot of people spend a long time before they can get something to commit to. They are going through a long time of wasting a lot of their life. So many people will not be ready for marriage until 25. In fact, many people will not be ready, will not even be done with school at 25. Then we'll come out again, start looking for a job. Before you are set up that you say you want to marry, or did it. So let's go on. Some people say there is no perfect time. Some people say you should not run, don't hurry. Don't use anybody's clock to judge your life. Just do your thing. But I will tell you that the question of when to be married, especially for a man, depends on two things. It depends on what you want to be. Do you want to be a patriarch? Or do you just want to settle down after experiencing life? It depends on, there are two things. What is your goal? Is your goal family oriented, or just basically, man, after life, I just want to just settle down with my wife and have a calm family. I'm not really so interested in being a patriarch or something. Now, if you want to become a family head, if you want to shape your family for generations, then the only time to get married is in your 20s. And the earlier in your 20s you do so, the better. Because that's the only thing that can give you enough time. Your children, you can see your children grow up and have their own children. So there's a high likelihood of being a grandparent and even a great-grandparent in your lifetime if you get married early and start having children early. Maybe it might not even be true marriage, but I'm coming to that. You have to start having children early if you intend to be a patriarch. And who is a patriarch? A patriarch is the father of, first of all, you're a patriarch of your own nuclear family, but a patriarch, in this sense I'm describing it, is the oldest and the uppermost source of wisdom for a family, source of direction for a family, so that you have an extended family and they also have their own children, and there is a head of the family, a pater familias, which is, or who is, advanced in age, advanced in experience, and still there to bring about the wisdom of past generations to the new generation. You see, if you really want your family to be safe from a lot of the propaganda that is going to be going around, a lot of the issues that are going around, a lot of the culture shaping that is happening right now, And a lot of them are very detrimental to I mean, the new generation that is coming is really going to suffer a lot of these things. We're seeing a lot of people intentionally teaching, transgendering their children, intentionally teaching their children, all this gay stuff. A lot of things are happening now that a lot of, through, this idea of liberalism and wokeness is really hitting deep on the family. One of the best ways to shape your family is to be present and shape your family for generations and keep certain things within your family. So for many of us, you see, and these systems have been created very well to obstruct that thing. The ideas that you should get married very late in life. In fact, the systems that have been set up to ensure that you get married very late in life, that is the educational system, the ability for you to not be able to stand on time financially and otherwise, before you are very late in your life. These systems that educate you to tell you that you shouldn't, in quote, rush into it. These ideas are set up to make sure that families do not have traditions that are passed down. Because usually the patriarch of those families are dead. By the time the children start becoming, more advanced in mind, their grandparents are dead. Or their great-grandparents are dead. If you are intending to become a pater familias, you're planning to become a patriarch and a leader of your family, to shape your family for generations, teaching them the family rules, the family goals, the family tradition, upholding it and letting it, setting it rolling, let it continue after you for generations. If you intend to build such a family legacy, you cannot get married after your 20s. You have to get married within your 20s. So that's the time, And if you just want to simply settle down, exploring life and gathering experience for yourself, and maybe after all of those times, you just want to you just want to settle down after, plowing many fields and sowing your oats. You just say, okay, I think it's time now, man. Man's not going to die alone. Let's get married. If that's what you want for your life, then really there's no time. You can get married anytime. You can get married anytime if that is what you truly just want. You don't want to shape, you just want to bring people to the world, but you do not want to shape their lives. Then you can get married at any time. You should understand one thing. I listen to Kule Shore, and he always says that add 30 years to your life right now. That in the next 30 years, who is not born yet will have become 30 years old. So those people, in the next 30 years, those people who are not even born yet will have been 29 or 30 years old. So imagine your children that you are giving back to right now will have been 30 years old and maybe having their own children. How old would you be? So it tells you how old you will be as a grandfather. It also points to you, if it's very possible for you, as you are now, to become a great-grandfather. All of these things, are things that you should form your mind and think about it. If you have children at 35, imagine your children having children at 35. Imagine how your relationship with those children will be. You'll be grandpa, but you'll be far from them. They might know you, but you don't get to shape them as well. You don't have enough time. And if you want to if that's what you really want, you just want to have children so that you might die later on, because some men may just marry a younger woman, die, then maybe their mother is there and maybe their mother shapes them, or, of course, we should know that we're going to die. So, let's say you just want to have children and you really don't want to also shape their own children. You want them to grow, and, you have a child at 50, you know that the chances of you being a grandfather for them, yes, it's slim, but it's possible, right? We can never be a great grandfather, so you're going to pass on before they start having their own, children. So, and in that situation, you find out that you are not really interested in shaping these people's lives. You just want to, set your family rolling, give them a good life. maybe have money on ground for them and then go. If that's what you want, you are not being it. That decision is not family focused. That decision is not family focused. So if you are intending to get married after 30, like late 30s, you are not making a family focused decision. If you want to make a family focused decision, you're supposed to be getting married in your 20s, or at least having children in your 20s. So now, let's talk about it. Now, many of the critiques of getting married early or in your 20s, because I used to be one of the proponents of you cannot get married before 30. And any man that is getting married before 30, why the rush? I feel like you are living the party before the party even begins. And that's what I have always said. But with more, when you come in contact with more knowledge, you would advance yourself and change many things in your belief system. And people always ask me, say, okay, so if later on you discover this and this and that, I say, yes, I would gladly change my view on it if this is the new position that I have come in contact with. If I come in contact with new knowledge, I am not scared to change what I already believe. I'm not scared to change what I already believe if I come in contact with new knowledge. So, yes, there's new knowledge, there's old knowledge, but I have no issues, changing what I believe. I always try to do a merging. See, when I come in contact with new knowledge, I check it with my old knowledge. I say, okay, where is the divide? Where does it show some distinct, properties? And sometimes we'll find out that though they might be distinct, but they're not exactly so different, So I can still say I can hold on to the things I believe in the past and then just shape them a little bit. And sometimes I have to jettison those things I believe in the past for the new one. So I used to think in that light before, that you have to be like 30 above before you say you're considering marriage as a man. That why are you rushing to now? Woman is supposed to run. But look at it very clearly. One of the arguments is that you do not understand women's nature. But to that I say, there are different ways to understand women's nature. We experience women every day in our lives. And if you are a very, very conscious person, you would start understanding patterns in women's nature. And of course, from secondary school, we started having romantic relationships with girls. And that's to show you that our brains naturally are attuned to these things. So when people say that, what do you know about love? Are you up to 18? I laugh. I say, how can you tell them what they know about love? Is love age-based? They know everything about love because love is embedded deeply into the human psyche. You have to know how to love. Except you were born without any expression of love. You know what, The only thing is that you might not have, maybe true wisdom to decipher when a person is trying to, use love as a facade to pull off something evil. And that is true. But they know about love. They know about the expressions of it. They know about doing things that are selfless, even from a young age. So as a matter of fact, we find ourselves in those situations where experiencing women or experiencing different things. Yes, sometimes say if you are in a relationship and it doesn't work out, it's a clear sign that nature wants to teach you something about women. And especially if it happened that the woman did you dirty. Every situation that you fall out of, or someone did you dirty, or it becomes an unfortunate situation, many people want to make it look like a bad thing. No, it is your payment to the school of life, to learn about that thing. So if you actually had a relationship that did not work out, the sign that is given to you is that there are some things you need to know about, relationships with women. And if you learn it, that thing, your next relationship will be better. If you don't learn it, your next relationship can also suffer it. So it might also tell you that you need to develop some parts of yourself. But the truth is that we have had people that, now want to date for a very long time, say, you have to date very long, for 7 years. People have been match made, and some of them just knew themselves a few months before their marriage. And they are good. Because families brought them together for the continuation of bloodlines. It is different from when you just define babe and maybe you say, okay, let's see where this goes, and then you guys, no. It also points that one other thing that people always say is that You see, when they say you don't understand women's nature, one thing I always say is that you cannot fully understand, the nature. What you do in marriage is to find a person you want to live life with. And the thing is that you have to keep on learning about this person, because this person will change from time to time. The way this person is when they are 20 years old is not the way they will be when they are 30 years old. They will have come in contact with some other kind of knowledge that is going to shape their lives. And different people they'll bring up different aspects of themselves at different intervals. A woman before sex is different from a woman after sex. A woman after having children is different from a woman before having children. All of these things are the things you're going to experience. She's also experiencing certain things about you. So there's no school that you go to and learn everything. Then you now say, okay, now that I've learned everything now, it's now time for me to start going to. Makes no sense. Now that I've learned everything, it's now time for me to start going now. Makes no sense. There's no time where you learn everything. All you need to do is to understand your specific woman that you want to build life with and keep on learning about her. Another thing is, people always point out the idea that a person who is in their 20s is usually has not enough to care for the family, and also they feel like they need more time to be able to gather enough resources to help the family. I also believe one thing is that I was born into a family that, as at the time when I was born, we're not living in our own house, right? We're renting an apartment. My dad did not wait to when he had the money to build his own house before he started his family. I believe that growth came. Of course, yes, he could provide the basics, but growth came even while the family was existent, and we all grew together. And I think that's what many people are trying to avoid. I don't know why this society is scared of growth. Everybody wants something that is already fully formed. Something that is fully formed. Sometimes you're looking at a woman and you're saying that she's not your spec. Why? What is your spec is something that is fully formed. And then it now begs the question of, where is the growth going to come from? If this person is supposed to be 100% before meeting you, where is especially for a man, because a man is called the bridegroom. What are you going to be grooming if this person is already fully groomed, so to speak? So one thing I always tell people is that if you know that you need enough resources, to get into marriage, at this young age, it sets you a timeline. It pushes you to get those things sorted. So I believe that work only expands to fill in the time set up for it to expand. If I tell myself that next year this is what I want to do, all my will start working towards that thing. The people I meet, my dating will be very intentional. People are saying they want to get married, So you want to get, in fact, people that say they want to get married in their 30s, I ask them, are you in any serious relationship? He said, no, my relationship, I just the catch cruise. The problem is that you are catching cruise continuously. So by the time you now get to a point where you have the resources, you now start looking for a woman frantically. And at that point in time, you are more likely to see more gold diggers. Maybe more people who are desperate for marriage, or, because you are also desperate at that point in time, and you are more likely to make a lot of mistakes. So also, it's very important that at this point in time, when you are not yet ready, so to speak, you start taking the steps. The first step is finding a person that can align with your goals for life, and start building with the person till when you guys get to a point where you can actually, start a family, when you have the necessary things. But the very fact that you have a person that you want to start a family with is a driver. It will spur you to want to make sure that you do the things you need to do on time. So you can listen. I have set a timeline for myself. It's easy for me to set a timeline for myself because I have someone I'm planning to do this life with. If you do not have any of such people, or you don't have any plans to do it soon, there is no drive for you to get those things right. So I believe that is even a good driver for success. I saw Omoni Oboli's son getting married at 24, and a lot of people were talking, Omo, that's the best time. I'm very happy for him that he's able to find how to navigate, all the issues that surround that thing and able to start a family. And that is where families also need to come and support. You see, this idea of sending children out of the house once they turn 18 is very funny. We need to support our children to stand properly. And if there's something that the poor need to learn from the rich, is this thing. Because the rich hardly send their children away. They bring their children. Okay, for example, now, many of their children are working in the family business. Many of the children are being given work by family members. And when they make money, they bring the money back into the family. They live together. I've had extended families living in the same house. And I always say something, I say, this idea of you must be in a special house with your wife, I don't believe it is necessary every time. Now, depending on how big the family space is, we have had a lot of, we know a lot of families that actually can accommodate their children and their spouses. And I'm not saying that should be the arrangement forever, but at the beginning, it's not a bad arrangement. For me, I intend to build a family such that my children can actually, I want my children to get married very young, a lot younger than me. And when they get married, I'm willing to offer them some level of support, at the beginning stage. That's what families are meant for. Weddings are not supposed to be a thing that a man has to be think so much and scratch his head before he gets married. No. Families are supposed to come and wed their children, join their children together. Families are supposed to sponsor the weddings, helping their children to keep their resources to themselves, to grow their families. That is how it's supposed to be. And all responsible families are still doing it today, helping their families, helping their children to grow their families. And that's how it is. You are shaping the generation. They would also do the same for their children. So the idea is, if you intend to shape your family for generations, you cannot get married outside your 20s. That is just the truth. So some other people that are on the other divide that believe that you should just have a good time and then you can get married anytime, they always say, one of their arguments is that you can take your time and you are mentally done with the games. That's why people tell you to explore. They say, sow your oats, plow your fields. And when you are done with that, then come and settle down so that you don't start cheating in marriage. Because now you have been there, you have seen it, you have done that, right? But the problem here is this. Because I've spoken to some of my friends and some of my friends will tell me that, when I get married, I would stop. And I'm wondering how you're going to stop, because you are creating a habit that is going to be difficult to stop. I know how many habits I have tried to stop that is so difficult for me because I've been doing it for years. So the truth is that if you do not curtail the habit right on time, because the older you are, the more difficult it is for you to learn new things. They say they learn left hand for old age. So the more set in your ways you are, the more difficult it is for you to adjust. So a man who got married at, say, 25 and has maybe fucking around, getting married at 25 because he's young, at some point he can easily adjust, because as at that point in time, he's getting serious, with his life. There's enough time for him to adjust into it. Now, if you have been doing it for a longer time, it is more difficult for you to break the habit. So guys that say that they want to taste everything they can taste, there's never enough women to taste. There are always beautiful women, always sexy women. I come out of my street every day and I see nice looking yansh. I just see man just waka small. I just want to buy small sweet for here. I just want to buy chin chin. I don't see yansh. And if it was when I was still me, when we say I see they do all those things, I they follow the babe, they talk. Then trying to, get out to, come around for some sessions. But if I don't tell myself that, bro, leave this thing, I will not build the habit of ignoring these temptations. So if you're always succumbing to a temptation, you are going to be succumbing to that temptation for a long time. People have this idea that it gets to a point when you stop succumbing to a temptation, that if you succumb to a temptation long enough, after a while, you stop succumbing to it. But it's not true. The more a person knocks on your door and you open for the person, the more the person will have access to you. the more the person will keep on coming. So you have to treat addiction like that. You have to treat habits like that. There is no habit there's nothing like a habit on demand. There's no habit on demand. You don't just get married and said, okay, I've been sleeping around for the last 35 years, but now that I'm married, I shall sleep around no more. Now lie now. Now lie. We also need to be able to give the best of our lives to our families that we are growing. That idea that you have to come and settle down later is flawed. After experiencing life, you come and settle down. So I like as much as possible, because even yesterday I was having this talk with a guy. A session with a guy who was talking about a girl he really liked, and he said this girl was always coming around, to be with him. They were always having sex. He didn't really have money, but she would come around, use her own transport fare. She was always like there with him and supportive and all of that. But he was not dating her. And at some point, she was trying to make him, do things like call her, text me, show me that you love me, that kind of thing. But it was not on that level with her. And now he's seeing her moving around. He said he saw her with one guy. And then at some point, he started feeling bad about it. He was feeling some level of jealousy. And I said that the reason why you feel like this, the reason why you're having these feelings of jealousy is, yes, you want this person, especially on that way, but you didn't claim her. And I said that the next time they got together, that when they had a break, and the next time they got together, this girl changed. This girl that didn't used to demand so much started demanding things from him. She'll come to his house, I want to take things, She wants to ask him for money for her, money for this, money for that. I told him that the reason why she's doing this is because she did tell herself that, this boy, I just a fuck him. Girlfriend, I know be. He no make me girlfriend, so I don't see any future with him. Will I not just be having sex with him just like that? I can't lose both ways. I have to take something. And that is the reason why she's doing that. Because women who see future with you want to help you to, handle your finances properly. So men who get women who they can be serious with towards marriage at an early age would find out that they do not expend many of their finances on women. Because most women that are with you, that know that they have a future with you, do not want to finish your money. You see, I won't take my baby out sometimes. I want to buy her something. She's like, can you just get a small one? No, this one is so expensive. So I tell her, no, I just want to get this for you. Say, really? Sometimes it's like she doesn't want to spend the money. Why? Because they are looking at her future. It's as if they are saving the money with you. They're making a future investment, But the person who knows that there's no future with you wants to eat everything they can eat now. And if you are deferring marriage, or you are deferring a serious, relationship that can culminate in marriage, you would find yourself with people that want to just eat now. So you're going to spend more on women the longer you remain, in limbo about your decision on marriage. So, so this guy was trying to point this out, and I just told her, I said, this girl, she has started demanding now because you have not, no intentionality. So I believe that one of the reasons why I believe that a man should marry within their 20s is because of intentionality. It makes marriage an intentional decision. It doesn't make it a thing that happens because, time don't come, I don't old. In your young age, you have the energy, and the things you do in your young age are the things you want to do, not the things you have to do. So when you make marriage a thing that, marriage is a thing that you might have to do, but you take it as a thing that you want to do, it is a more beautiful approach to that thing. I want to do this thing with you. I'm not doing this thing with you because I'm scared that time is going. Same with the woman you are aligning with. I've always said it before that if a woman doesn't want to marry young, it's a red flag. Any woman that still wants to explore that before marriage is a big red flag. Marriage is going to happen to her like, oh my God, I'm telling you something now. Which man go marry me? Women naturally, the woman you align with have to want to be a wife and a mother. You as a man have to want to be a father and a husband. If you do not want it, then you cannot cherish it when you have it. It has to be a thing that you want. You have to intentionally want to build a family. You have to intentionally want to secure, the mindset of your family for generations. You want to set traditions that when people call your name, or anybody that links themselves up with your name, there's an idea that they have in their mind. Of course, if you have already made the decision late, you have made that decision late, you have to do an extra work to make sure that you instill certain values in the lives of your children, and also ensure that you set up systems by which the future generation can be taught, even in your absence. You have to set up. So that's why I always believe that every family should have family guidelines and family traditions, and they have to be documented, such that children that are born, a century after in your family lineage have something to fall back on to understand what it is to be a member of your family. So you have to have like a kind of Bissong. For example, in my family, I'm going to have something like a Bissong, I don't want to call it a family manual. I'm thinking of the word to use, a handbook on the behaviors and, courage, image. All of those things have to be embedded into the education that you are giving to the next generation. You have to shape your family. The people that the clutches of, the world right now can get to are those people who don't have a strong root in family. They are susceptible to wind. They can be blown in any direction because they don't have a strong hold, which is family values. So that's why the most things I look out for in a woman is family values. I want to know the things her mother tells her. If her mother is always telling her, not any man touch you with that money, without paying. I said this on our show. Now, show then you can teach her for our house. So you will know, check a girl's mother. The things she teaches her. What are the things that they are telling your family? How do you perceive love? Is there love in your family? What's your idea about love? All of these things are important. So back to what I'm saying about when a man should get married. I usually don't like I said, I don't like to make a decision for people. But these are the two options. But if I was to pick, I would tell you the best time to get married is in your 20s. For both men and women. The best time to get married is your 20s. When you are most fertile, when you are most energetic, this is the best time to raise children. You have more strength. Some people say you don't have patience, but when is the best time to develop patience? It's not now. Should life's experiences come and knock you into humility and knock you into patience, shouldn't you make a conscious decision to be a patient person? Shouldn't you make a conscious decision to love properly? Shouldn't you, in your youth, experience your children's growth and have the strength to really shape them? Shouldn't you live long to be able to fully shape your family for generations? Become a patriarch. So these are the things we always talk about when we talk about legacy. So a lot of issues, exist now and are plaguing the family. So yes, families should help their children to be able to do the things that they need to do in time. And I'm also urging all men there, start planning towards your family now, as young as possible as you are. Make every step you take also be linked towards your family. If you are meeting women, be meeting women for the right purposes. So let me just conclude. And I'll conclude with a summary of everything that I've said. And that is that if you want to be a patriarch and shape your family forever, you must marry in your 20s. If you just see marriage as a thing you just settle, and you don't really care about, family and all of that thing, it doesn't really bother you like that. You don't really care about shaping your family. That's why there's some families that, for you to be a member of that family, you feel your head high because somebody thought about shaping a family in a particular light. Some other places, some other families, they're just there because no one actually took the time. Everyone was being selfish. So you have to sacrifice that party you're having right now for your family because you feel like you need to have the party. So something has to give. You see that something has to give. It's either you leave the party early, or you keep on having the party and sacrifice the shaping of your family. There is always something to give. There is something to sacrifice for the good of another. So it's been a nice one. And my advice is start getting ready. Start organizing yourself. We want to see more patriarchs. Wizened men are men who are intentional about every step of their life. And they know the right things to do at the right time. And I pray that God gives us the power, the necessary resources to make the decisions we need to make at the right time we need to make them. Stay wizened.